Hi.
Hola.
Hola.
Sharona.
I say arrive into a room laughing so that it makes it seem like either you're in on the joke, you're arriving with a joke, or you're keeping people on their toes a little bit. Why is she laughing?
Yeah.
Anywho, how are you?
Well, you're back safely from your Mexican vacacione.
Yes, indeedy.
Yeah.
Who was it that somebody told me before I left? One of our colleagues, Zenga, was concerned about my safety going to Mexico. He says, "Oh, people get killed when they go to Mexico." And no disrespect to the people that have been killed in Mexico, but I was fine in Mexico. I'll just leave it at that.
Were you on the East Coast?
I was on the. We were in.
Like in the Gulf of Mexico part of Mexico?
Yes, we were south of Cancun.
Yeah,
We
that's a safe
flew
area.
into Cancun and then
Is that a time change for you then?
no.
No. Okay.
No, it was lovely. You know what? Not to rub it in because, everybody gets time off and stuff, but for 2 weeks we were in perfect weather. We slept the right amount of time at night. We
Wow.
had totally relaxed and nothing was sore. Okay.
Wow.
Now we've been back for a few days and I'm sleeping like crap. It's not nice weather here.
Yeah.
And most of my body parts are sore.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe I should be relocating to Mexico.
It's funny you said that. I just read an article today about some TikTok influencer person who was Canadian from Toronto, and
Mhm.
she moved to Abu Dhabi or something in
Wow.
November. So only been there like 4 months or 5 months, whatever. And has said like, why didn't she move there faster? That there's like a bunch of expats and there's people that move there for a reason. So everybody's there for a reason. And she's like,
Yeah.
she felt that she was stuck in Canada and that she's happy to be out. And I'm like, I love
Wow.
Canada. We can't be that bad. So,
No, I think when you're able to take a challenge or an adventure challenge like that in your career and go to a place where, you stand to make some extra money and it's not long term if you don't want it to be, and that you have the comfort of people around you that, are going through something similar to you, then I think that makes
maybe.
that kind of a jump a whole lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
like
not
Canada
for
too.
everybody, but yeah, I
That's
love
true.
it.
Well, it's funny because when I was in Florida, I was only there for a week, and it was, and also because we were moving around, like we moved almost every night to some other place. I think 2 nights we stayed. Yeah. One time I told my mother, I'm like, can we just stay here for another night? Like, can we just stay here? Because Mummy Alexander likes to move constantly. And I was like, I was doing all the driving. And so
Ooh.
I'd been driving we did this whole big loop of like Orlando to Daytona to then, what the heck place is it's Salt Springs or something. It's like in, it's not far from Jacksonville, like maybe an hour from Jacksonville, and then back down to Lakeland, Florida, and then over
I've
to
been to Lakeland.
Lakeland is the bomb. I would live there.
It's very lovely.
Yeah. And you're right in the middle, kind of. So not really
Yeah.
concerned about hurricanes in a way.
Yeah.
But Lakeland is amazing. It was really, there's just everything there. And that's where I get my nice jeans that I can't get in Canada. So
Really, eh?
yeah. So like my whole reason for going to Lakeland, I told my mother, because she's like, I don't know if we're going to get there. I'm like, oh, we're going to get there. If I'm driving you all over Hell's Half Acre, my one thing will be to get there.
Buckle up, mama.
Yeah. So we did. And then also I was showing Adam. Sharon hasn't seen this yet. Sharon would know what this is though.
Hang on a
The
second.
vintage Tampa Bay Bucks logo.
Ooh, nice.
Sharon, when I saw this, I was like, I don't care what it costs.
How much did it cost? How much?
So 45 American. Yep.
Okay,
Ooh.
it's not too bad.
Yeah, but I don't care because like I like Sharon, like I used to when I was a kid, these were like the deal. Do you remember they used to have their football uniforms were orange, but then like a peach. So they didn't look really manly, right? For football players. So when like, I think it was Adam, maybe can you Google this quickly? I'm not sure what year they changed, but it was like either late 90s or early 2000s that Tampa Bay went to the red and pewter color.
So would they have the old colors in the early 90s?
For sure. For sure. Yeah.
And so that's like a one size cap, right? And it doesn't.
Well, this is actually
doesn't look too tight.
Well, this is actually what's cool about these ones is I know that like I fit a 7 1/4. So that's that, but you can get 7.5, you can get 7 5/8, whatever.
Wow.
So that's why I knew this would fit me. And my mother was like, "You're a bit obsessed." I'm like, "Look, sister," I'm like, I took you to see your cousin. I'm taking you to see your brother. I need 2 hours of shopping. So that's what happened. Yeah.
You know what? I think the color looks amazing. I do like the uniform.
Isn't it cool? It's so vintage. It's so like 80s, 90s, that color. So yeah.
Nice. Good
But as my whole original point is when I was in Florida, we were moving around so much. It was hard to feel like you had a home base and feel like you could get the food you needed to get.
Yeah.
Hence why I mentioned
you're
to you
eating
both earlier, Kelly got a little sick.
So,
but I'm all right and it was fine. And I did enjoy the trip. So that was good. Yeah.
That's exciting. Good
and I hadn't
job.
been on, was this your first time on a plane since pandemic? Because it was my first time on plane since pandemic.
No, we went last year.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay.
And so the difference was people were freer this time around.
Yeah.
I guess. We still wore a mask on the plane
So
to
did
stay
I.
on the safe side because
Did you wear your mask
freer.
Did I wear my
You
mask?
flew?
I didn't. No.
Adam, you're part of the problem.
Yeah. It's me. I'm the problem. It's me. Yes. To quote my good friend Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
My thing is that like I'm not making anybody else do it, but I'm doing it for myself. And I thought I wasn't sick at all, but I thought if I was sick, I would wear a mask for others. But for myself, I thought just to be on the safe side, I don't want to go back home or arrive on vacation and then get sick, and certainly not want to come home and then get sick.
Yeah.
So just me being cautious.
Was there I know you're going to tell us what's on the show, but quickly, the one thing that I like in Florida is they have these little lizard things. They're so cute. Like they hop around the grass. Is there little lizard things in Mexico that are cute?
A little.
I know they have a gajillion lizard things in Mexico.
Well, there's iguanas.
Okay.
And the babies are little and they are quite cute, and they sort of flit. But the bigger ones that look like not an artifact, but kind of like ancient, they have this old wrinkly skin to them. Some of them have like scales on their backs. And they don't look like they can move fast.
Yeah.
But
they can. And they don't technically want anything to do with us humans, but I don't know what's going on in their minds. Yeah. So no quick moves, and stay over there. Just stay over there. Anyways, we went to this area called Punta Sur, which is the southernmost part of Mexico, and it's beautiful because you're like out on this, not a cliff, but like a kind of peninsula, the way the land goes. And the ocean's amazing, and there's like really subtle iguanas. They're just they take on the color of the rock, and fairly large ones. Just don't get up in the grill. Just leave them, wave, keep going.
By the way, when I was in Florida, and I didn't tell my mother this because I knew she'd freak out, but I was reading the local news and stuff, and all of a sudden this thing came from 85-year-old woman eaten by alligator.
I know, I read that too. Isn't that because wasn't she trying to save her dog?
Yeah, well, she was out walking her dog, and
the dog lived, right?
Yeah, the dog lived and she didn't.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And it was not, I think it was maybe 2 hours from where I was, which obviously it could have happened down the street, and it doesn't matter. But it was just crazy to think like, oh my God, this poor lady. And then I ended up seeing video footage, but they actually showed the video of her out walking the dog, and then moments later. And it's just crazy because she would never know. Like this thing just came out of this.
Because they're fast also, despite their tiny little low to the ground, their legs are. Yeah. And obviously the whole chomp of the.
Yeah.
Whoa, man.
Yeah.
You know what? We've got deers here in Canada, and they're as dangerous. If you're going to hit one on the road, that's as dangerous as a crocodile eating you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because you hit them because they're so big and similar also to moose, you hit them in the leg if you're, like if you're in a car or
driving,
whatever,
Yeah.
and you're taking them out and their whole body lands on the hood of your
slams the
car.
window. Yeah.
Takes out the windshield.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the driver and the passengers.
Yeah. Finished. Yeah.
Oh, dark
Wow.
cloud.
So
Dark cloud.
welcome. Welcome to the nature episode of 90s Now.
So
Hashtag
exotic.
watch your step.
Yeah.
So for today, we're back.
That's enough.
We've got, yeah. Thank you for listening to 90s Now. Goodbye.
Yeah.
We've got some documentary info for you on one of the great hip hop R&B trios from our favorite decade, as well as a follow-up documentary for one Janet Jackson.
Are
How
there
exciting, eh?
iguanas in that documentary? That
Time will tell. I don't
They're
want
the
to spoil the
featured guests,
surprise.
Adam.
Oh, okay, nice.
We've also got some intel for you if what to do when you sell so many records. Of course, you'd have to be at a certain level. So many records means a lot of records, but nice that this particular rock band, not just from the 90s, but all the way back in the 80s too, and still rocking today, are doing with their time and effort. Also, Kelly's trivia. We've got a 90s rewind to get back to the last spring fling of the decade. And we are coming off a couple of big awards shows. One very big around the world, one very big in Canada. So I thought that we should probably start there. And the big around the world one is obviously the Oscars. Did you guys watch the Oscars?
I did.
I watched up until about 9:06, and then Kelly went to bed. So
Wow. So you missed a good 5 hours, Kel.
I did. Yeah. Yeah.
I had some friends over and a few bottles of wine, so we were good for the long
Nice.
run.
Right
Yeah. My
on.
better half watched all of it, and then the next, because why I went to bed also is because I had to get up almost the same time as Sharon, and
Mhm.
I like to not be exhausted, so that's why I went to bed. But the next morning, I talked to Elaine when I got back from my appointment, and she's like, "I can't believe I wasted my time watching
Yeah.
that whole thing like this."
I had a great time watching the Oscars. Have you watched Everything Everywhere All at Once?
Not yet.
That one Best Picture? Please do. If you're listening to this podcast, go watch that movie. It is
Okay.
incredible.
Nice. And
That's all
how
I got.
about Jamie Lee Curtis winning for that?
Yeah.
And the lead actor too. His speech was just so sweet. Oh. And the fact
no,
that
he won Best Supporting actor because Best
Brendan
Actor went to Brendan Fraser.
Right. Exactly.
I was
That's a
upset at
Canadian
people
tie-in right there.
trolling on Twitter about trying to cause controversy between Jamie Lee Curtis and Angela Bassett's
Well,
response.
she did look disappointed when she didn't win.
Well,
Yeah,
and
but
she's
she didn't
entitled
do
to.
anything. Like she didn't fake clap like the other
They
ones.
always make it sound like that, though. There's always someone that's going to make it sound like something happened when there's nothing there.
Yeah, and she
But
looked.
you should fake clap at an award show.
Pardon?
You should fake clap
Right.
at an award show if you're
I
not.
think she fake clapped at the ending part.
Maybe.
Yeah,
Hope-
maybe. But Angela Bassett was beautiful. Did you see that purple ensemble?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
she's,
she looked amazing.
She's a queen.
She's amazing. Yeah, and I thought I missed Rihanna. How did she do? I heard people were excited about it, and then Lady Gaga.
Lady Gaga, I saw her. I'm not sure if I had the television muted the next day, and she was in a beautiful gown. So I don't know if that was footage from something else because she was not wearing a beautiful gown in her
No.
performance.
She did have a gown before.
She switched
Like
out.
she got all the makeup out and all the dress out before her performance.
Yeah, like because
Yeah.
she looked like she was at home in her comfy t-shirt, hair in a French braid, and she sang beautifully as usual.
Well, for the whole
Um,
performance, I was wondering if it was pre-recorded
No.
because,
Oh.
like she didn't look
yeah.
like she did 10 minutes prior. And if it
Right.
wasn't for that shot at the end where, it was all a big close up of her, the whole performance.
Yeah.
And at the very end, they zoom out and you can see the crowd and you can see she's on stage. But before that, I was convinced it was all pre-recorded.
Yeah, she
Well,
wasn't.
cool. That's a commitment to getting it done, right? Like
Yeah.
to doing it her way, rather. Like,
Yeah.
because she would have shown up on the red carpet and looked beautiful and all dressed and ready to go. But like you said, she would have had to take everything off to get into that relaxed mode.
Yeah, which she did, and it was funny because right up until like almost game time, I was actually gonna, because I was on the air that day, and right up at 5:15, I was about to go on the air and say she's not performing. This is why, because they had been interviewing the executive producer earlier in the week, and he said she's not performing. She was one out of the 5 that wasn't going to go on stage. And then thank God I was checking, because at like 4:45, so half an hour before, I'm always still scrolling the sites to keep, make sure, nobody's died or whatever. And then sure enough, it popped up, breaking news, Lady Gaga is going to perform tonight.
And why wasn't she going to?
Because she apparently wasn't going to be able to put together the performance of the caliber that she normally does at the Oscars.
Right.
Because this was her third performance, I think, there.
Mm.
And that's why I almost think that she went with that super stripped down version, even just visually with what she was wearing, because it wasn't going to be ending up being a big thing. Like, I think she just decided, oh, I better just do this. And so that's what I think they went with if I dress in a t-shirt, it'll look like this is planned.
Yeah. Well, she's great. She's awesome. She can do anything at any time in any outfit, as far as I'm concerned. Who else was great at the Oscars? Jamie Lee Curtis's thank you speech, I thought, was really great.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Jimmy Kimmel, I just think he's such a great host.
Yeah.
In general, he's just so real.
Mm-hmm.
No BS with him, or he'd call you out on it if there were BS.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like that there's that element in an awards show like that where, people might buy into their own hype, and they're entitled to do whatever they want with their own hype. But to have someone neutralize it like him, I think, is a really good idea.
I wanted to reach through the screen and do martial arts on Hugh Grant.
Yeah, he kind of went off script.
Well, I don't even see his on stage, but did you've heard about the hullabaloo with Ashley Graham?
What happened?
So it's funny enough, I had just got home from work and tuned in and literally landed on that live interview where he's on the red carpet, or champagne, whatever the carpet they had this year. And Ashley Graham is doing, like the fluff pieces where what are you wearing? Like all that stuff. She lobbed him so many balls that he could have just, hit out of the park, just nice and easy, like just answer the questions, Hugh. And he was a pompous piece of business to her the entire time. And she finally just was like, well, thanks you. And still keeping smiley, like doing what she needed to do. And she's like, well, thanks you. I appreciate it. And I swear, as he walked off, he actually shook his head at her like she was the problem.
Oh
and
my gosh.
I just wanted to reach through the screen and throttle him, because I'm like, you did this. Like every question she asked him, like she even said, she's like, are you excited about any of the films tonight? Like, are you rooting for anybody? Whatever, he could have even lied, been like, oh, I hope, whatever. He's like, no one in particular. Like that was his answer. Then she's like, she's like, I watched Green Onions. She's like, what was it like to make that film? Like you were in it, was great, whatever. He goes, I was in it for 3 seconds. That was his answer. Like just cringy. And I felt
somebody had a bad day.
But he's like that though. Like he's entitled and he acts like that. And he's curmudgeonly when he wants to be. And I felt so bad for her, but I was so proud of her at the same time, because she handled herself like a champ. Like and she's not even like, I don't think she's been hosting for long. She was a model, right? I think most of her career. So
yeah,
I have a lot of respect for how she, and since, people tried to get her to comment on it, and she just has kept taking the high road. Like, oh, I was just doing my job. Like, whatever,
Smart.
Yeah.
Smart.
So
the high road will always make you look proper.
Yeah. But if you go back, Sharon, the both of you should Google that and just watch how terrible he was to her. It's about maybe 60 seconds, maybe 90 seconds. And it was just terrible.
I have Googled it. I just Googled both of their names, and there's no shortage of opinions about what happened. Yeah. So I will go and check that out after.
Yeah. And then did you see, so I think I've told you guys before, there's a South African artist. Her name is Thames. She's an amazing R&B artist. Mm-hmm. And she helped write on that soundtrack for Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. So she's the girl in the theater, by the way, with that white thing that blocked everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God.
But it's funny, when I saw her, because her white thing was so like overpowering at first, like I didn't see that it was her. So I didn't recognize it till the next day when they're like, the girl with the white dress, like, and from what I understand, she feels absolutely terrible about it, that she blocked all those people.
But what was she thinking? What is anybody thinking when they wear something?
Into account, like when I sit,
others,
this is
the others. Oh my
All that
gosh.
to say is you guys should check her out. She's an amazing vocalist. Thames from South Africa.
Okay. Well, so she was maybe wearing, it was the crinoline that was like, not crinoline, but
I think like, when you sit and things shift.
upward.
Yeah.
It's like insect netting.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
But it's funny too, because if you go and see, because there's a picture of her on the red carpet and you see why, like, she looks stunning in it. Like when she's standing, it
For
looks
sure.
cool. Like it doesn't look like, what was that? The swan dress from York,
Oh god.
which was just ridiculous. But
Yeah.
she actually looks stunning. So the thing is, it was a good choice if she had a stood the whole time, you know what I mean? And it was at the back row and not blocking anybody. But
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, there's again, she's another one. If you Google, you'll get all kinds of takes on what happened, and she responds to it also.
Yeah.
Which I haven't looked, obviously, because we're chatting, but I think, wouldn't it be funny if you click on something and her response is F off?
Yeah.
That's what I'm wearing.
Well, that's what Avril Lavigne said during the Junos, right? So
Yeah. Yeah, so the Junos are the big deal in Canada because they're Canada's big music awards, and they happened the night after the Oscars. And Avril Lavigne, it's a great return for her because she's had a lot to contend with over the past few years. I think if you Google her name too and what she's like in the one-on-ones with winners, let's say, it's not necessarily the most positive experience. But let's talk about the Junos. So she was there and she performed, right? I was out last the night of the Junos, so I didn't get to see all
I
of
don't
them.
think
So I'm doing
Avril
my best to sort
performed.
of.
Did she perform, Adam? I don't think she performed. I watched the last hour and I didn't see her. So I saw the hip hop performance, like the 50th.
Okay, so she was on stage though, and somebody came up
Yeah, so
topless, and
that's right. Yeah, she was introducing an artist to the stage to perform.
Okay.
Yeah, so she was
Okay.
introducing, and then she did win the TikTok Fan Choice Award at the end of that. I believe it was the last award she won it.
That's pretty cool. That's good.
And
for
by
her.
the way, if you go and check out her, because she wore two different things. She wore her red carpet arrival, and then she wore that black thing, like I think it was like pleather or whatever it was. Like it was like vinyl. It's very shiny.
Mhm.
But that's not what she wore on the red carpet. But you should check out her red carpet look. She looked amazing. It was a really cool outfit.
I thought I've seen her live. It's been a long time. And she was incredible then. So and at the time she got Lyme disease, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And to that point, like she was cresting, like riding that wave, and if not going higher and higher, and then got taken out with Lyme disease because it exhausts you. So it's a nice triumph to have her back, but her live performances, or it was, and I imagine that she'd be able to get it back to that level. She was very good live. So
I'm sure. Yeah.
Here's hoping.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw Nickelback also. Like I saw the tail end of their acceptance speech, and then I saw their performance.
I just made a face for anybody that's watching this podcast. Like I rolled my eyes and I stuck my tongue out, like your reaction. My thing is with Nickelback, I like them. I think they too are amazing live. I think that they are the band that divides, right? You either love them or you don't, and that's fine. It really is fine.
Mhm.
But don't say what Chad said when they got their induction into the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. What was the word he used, Cal?
Redemption
for all the naysayers, basically. Why would you do that? If it doesn't bother you, which he started his speech by saying, let it roll off your back or whatever, then end by saying it's redemption. It can't bother you because they themselves have said, we have sold millions and millions of albums. Thank you to our fans. That's all you have to say. You only have to thank your fans. If you acknowledge the chirpers, it just gives them fuel. I liken it to a sibling. I think we each have siblings, and when we're young and our sibling is bugging us, if we let it show that it bothers us, they win. All they have to do is just keep going. They don't even have to do that much, right? They just have to just poke a little bit, But if you don't let it show that it's bothering you,
it's going to drive them mad.
It's going to drive them mad. They're going to stop. So in my opinion, don't acknowledge the naysayers, Chad. Just enjoy the fact that you have sold millions and millions of albums, rocked the lives of millions and millions of people, and just be happy. It can't matter. Redemption? Come on. It seemed a bit harsh.
Yeah. Adam,
not harsh. It seemed a bit
Google
whiny.
that. I'm 99% sure he said that, but like that's
yeah, he did say it.
Yeah, we did. Okay, great.
That will be Chad who said that.
Yeah. I listened to him on a podcast several months ago talking about their songwriting and just their whole kind of ascension and all that stuff. And it was very good. It was him and his, who's the one that co-writes with him? Is it the lead guitar player?
Ryan? I think so.
Yeah, so those two were on. And so it's just interesting because I knew their story, but not from their own word story kind of thing. And yeah, it was interesting to hear like their trajectory and all that stuff. But yeah, I guess they're just, I don't know. I guess they're tired of being told they're at the bottom of the barrel. And now, but like you said, it's sweeter if they had just been like, hey, thanks.
Thanks, fans, for making us this, for getting us to this point. 20 years later.
I can never understand why people
more than 20 years later. 25,
I don't get it because I don't love them, but I don't like I see what they are and I respect what they do.
They sell out shows. They sell out arenas. People do like them.
That's if you listen to some of their lyrics, I mean, it's not, gonna win the Pulitzer Prize, but it gets the job done.
Exactly. And it's fun.
Yeah.
Great rock songs. It's not everybody can write what seems to be an easy hit.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
And
I think that's the skill. If you make it sound easy, you've done your job.
Yeah. Oh, well, exactly. And when they performed You Remind Me, I hadn't heard it in a while. And it reminded me, I was like, oh yeah, like this is really good.
So when you heard How You Remind Me, it did remind you?
It reminded me what a good song it was for them. Yeah.
So that's a win-win for them even.
Yeah. And even like the lyrics on Rockstar are not, again, you're not going to save the world with that, but it's all good. Like it's so simple, but it works. And that's what you want anyway. Right. So
I think also the production value of how they put their music together is straight in your face rock and roll. Their cover of Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting they did with Kid Rock for the Charlie's Angels soundtrack was grab you by the shirt and throw you on the ground. It was just so like energetic and punchy, just exactly where you would want a cover by them of that song, which is already high energy to be. So I think just enjoy it. Just focus on the positives.
And Chad is still cutesy.
He is.
Yeah.
Do you want to know what he said?
Yes, go Adam.
So it's worse than we thought.
Oh God.
Here it goes in quotes. We're four guys who make music, and we have been absolutely ripped through the mud and worse for a good 15 years out of our 27-year career. So what it's like, it effing sucks. What it's like to win this award tonight, effing redemption.
Wow.
That's a lot.
He doesn't
well,
think
it's a lot.
The whole thing.
And I think also then to have like it's affected him in a way. Like you wish it didn't. I wish it didn't. I wish he could let it roll off his back because it can't matter. Like if they're not buying your records, fine. Because there are millions of people who are. At that point, it becomes like, the trolls on social media or the bots or whatever that like they're not, they can't possibly be real. Or if they are, you can't let them matter.
Yeah.
But rock and roll is a vicious game, man. Said April Wine one time.
At one time.
Not for everybody. It's not for everybody, but it's clearly for Nickelback. And I just, if they feel redeemed, then good for them.
It's just
it's not going to change anything from the haters' perspective, sadly.
No, but it's what's interesting too is like it's kind of in a way that statement in a way taints what they've just achieved. Like because it takes away from just them being like, wow, we're super excited to have got this honor.
Just that.
Because there's a tinge of bitterness in there.
if not a dollop.
Yeah. That's a word that should get used more often. I love that word.
Okay, well, how about a dollop of trivia, Kel?
Okay.
Want
It's
to serve
out
that up?
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't tell Crystal Waters.
Now, trivia.
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Alrighty, so let's start with the news and politics to make you work for it.
Okay.
God.
Yeah. I feel like Sharon might remember this, I think. And then Adam, because you're so good with history that you learned in school when you were 6,
Maybe I'll know this.
maybe you'll know this. So news and politics. In the 90s, let me try that again. Whose Rainbow Warrior 2 ship was used to protest against Norway's whaling? So going whale hunting, whatever.
Can I hear that question again?
Yep. In the 90s, whose Rainbow Warrior 2 ship, so big ship on the ocean, was used to protest against Norway's whaling?
Sharon.
Go, Sharon.
Queen Elizabeth II. So no, is that a no?
So no, but do I need to explain a bit better? Like, it's a organization.
Oh, I was
So-
gonna say
Okay.
somebody's name.
So not like another ship name, like a person, like
Okay.
an organization.
Norwegian Cruises.
Good guess.
Well, I mean,
They already have ships.
I'm not gonna give you a better guess. They do have it's happening in Norway.
Actually, Adam, that makes all the sense in the world why you would say that. So I don't know why I laughed so much, but I guess it's just because that's not like I guess I was expecting you to say like battleship, like from the I don't know
My
Icelandic.
original
army.
answer was gonna be Christopher Columbus.
Yeah.
So
He was
Oh my
super
God.
popular in
Okay,
the
Sharon,
90s.
do you have another guess, Sharon?
The 1690s. No.
you two, they have ships,
Um,
for touring and stuff.
Johnson and Johnson.
No, Greenpeace.
Ooh, that makes sense.
That
Yeah.
does make sense.
Yeah. So, that was one of the
Kelly-
best trivia. That was one of the best trivia exchanges we've ever had.
Kelly had to stop us in our tracks. Like they're just gonna keep on guessing stupid. So
Yeah.
Greenpeace.
Yeah. Go Greenpeace. All right. So now this is under hobbies, toys, and games.
Mm.
And I don't think I've asked this before, but if I have another question. So just tell me if I've asked this one before. Which awesome game featuring a spiny spinning animal was released for the Sega Genesis in 1991?
Adam,
Go, Adam.
Sonic?
Yes, correct. Did I ask?
Oh, cool.
No, you didn't.
Okay, so Sonic the Hedgehog. Yep.
I was
Well, I
gonna
was
guess
gonna say
Snakebite.
I was gonna add the hedgehog at the end of my answer.
Well, I figured if you got Sonic, you knew that the Hedgehog was coming also along with that. So
That's cool.
did you guys play that? My niece and nephew, like in the new version, I think have played that.
I've played one version of a Sonic game, but not a lot.
Okay. As we've
I haven't
discussed,
played
I'm
a video
still-
game in a while.
Yeah, as we've discussed, I'm still mad that it's not just left to right, like that.
Yeah, get me a joystick, man. Have I told you that I have like a joystick that you just plug into your television?
Oh, that's
And it
amazing.
has, I'm pretty sure it's in the closet
Is that
behind me.
you
So
can play Pac-Man on that, right?
yeah,
I've had that.
yeah, it's awesome.
It's cool.
It doesn't jive with like the breakdown of like modern television, smart TVs, because it just keeps it like it just keeps the screen. So it's
Yep.
like you're at an arcade. But the joystick, because we went from joysticks to playing it on your computer, so you're using the arrows and certain letters. There is true joy in a joystick.
Yep.
Playing the game that way. So
Yeah. No, some like I told because even like when I told you guys a few weeks back with my nephew, it's funny how your reflexes and everything comes back.
yeah,
Even though I had to get used to this new controller, like it obviously has like a million more buttons than we had with the Nintendo, right? But you kind of just you start to remember your finger patterns and all that stuff.
And your level of competitiveness.
Yeah. I never told you this, but when I had my Nintendo in 1988, that's when I got it. My dad, I tried to get him to play. I think we had like hockey. So really bad. Like if we went back and looked at the graphics, it would be absolutely atrocious, but I would totally play that game again. But he and my aunt both didn't understand that you just have to keep doing the buttons to get the action to happen. Cause my dad ripped the controller out of the, he was like, whatever. And they went like this. Because he was so into it that he ripped the controller right out of the. So Daddy didn't play Kelly's Nintendo after that because.
Yeah, not sharing.
Yeah, I was like, Daddy, you're gonna break my machine. So no. Yeah.
Thanks, anyways.
That's
Bother. So we were talking about also, or teasing about a band that's, you know, big enough now for having sold 125 million albums around the world.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of albums. And what they've done, I guess, to keep up with the hands-on demand side of things, is that they've acquired a majority stake in Furnace Record Pressing, which is a pressing plant in Virginia. That way, as they say, they can ensure fans have, quote, continued access to high quality records in the future, end quote. It's Metallica, right?
Mhm.
This makes complete sense that they would do this to me. I think that they're so focused on the fan experience and making sure that they give back to the community that has supported them throughout their career, that to then go like on this hands-on angle of making sure that the distribution and the actual pressing of what they make artistically is, I think it'll be a great return. It's a financial investment for sure, but it's neat to see that they've got an actual interest in getting into it.
I think this is like the coolest thing ever because I don't think I've ever heard of another artist or band that owns vinyl pressing.
Well, I can tell you Jack White has got his hands all over that kind of thing
Oh,
too.
that's great. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. I don't think it's a plant necessarily. I could be wrong, but I know that he's got what's his record, his album is not his album, his label is Third
White
Man
Stripes?
Records,
No.
I think. Third Man Records, I think.
Oh, okay. No.
But yeah, he presses vinyl also.
Good for
But
him.
he's that kind of guy too. But yeah.
Yeah,
that's-
Third Man Records is the right
Right.
is what you're looking for.
And there is joy in joysticks, and there's joy in remembering things.
Yep.
So yay for the brain.
If you need to keep any of our topics for next week, because I know we're running along on the show, that's up to you, Sharon.
Yeah, you know what? We did mention, we'll get to a 90s rewind, but we did mention that there's a couple of bits of info for a new documentary from one of our favorite trio in the R&B hip hop category, as well as another documentary to follow up and follow along with Janet Jackson. So Kel, we'll talk about Janet first. So you, and by we, I mean you. Go. What's she doing?
So there's so it her doc was truly successful for her last January of 2022, that 4-part series, and
Yeah.
so I guess her relationship with A&E and Lifetime, they decided to continue it. So they have a new doc that they're working on now called Janet Jackson Family First. We don't have a release date yet because they're filming now, because it's going to be behind the scenes of her prepping for her Together Again tour, which is happening now. She leaves on tour, I think, but her first tour date is the 14th of April, I believe, in Florida. So they're going to follow that. And then they're also following Janet and Randy working together to try to get the family band back together for the first time in 40 years.
Wow.
So obviously Michael's missing, so that's a huge part missing. But yeah, it'll be crazy because, as you know, Adam, I'm not sure if he remembers this, but back in the day, and this was even really before my time, I would have been really, really little, I think, if not even not born yet, but they had that Vegas act when all of them were performing.
Oh yeah.
And so it was the Jackson 5 plus Randy plus Rebe plus Janet plus LaToya. So all of them were doing the thing. So I think that's the plan, is to get everybody together, except obviously Michael won't be there. So
wow.
We're waiting on a release date. I would assume before next summer, I think, 2024 summer. Yeah.
So is them doing the documentary spoiling the fit? Is it going to happen, or are we not even sure?
Well, I assume they're gonna, because Janet doesn't like not coming through on things.
Exactly.
So she's very much about coming through for her fans. So I'm sure they've said that they're trying to, but for sure I can't see it not happening.
Nice.
And if anybody can rally her, the Jacksons to get their stuff together, it's the baby, right?
Yeah.
Is she the youngest?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
And she turns 57 this year.
Wow.
Wow.
How did that happen, Sharon?
I don't even know.
I remember when she turned 27. And P.S. she still looks like she's 27.
Yeah. Yeah, she's doing great. She's doing something right.
Yeah, because I even saw she posted a bit of so she's back working with her original trainer, Tony, who's amazing. I've had him on the show before, on the Kelly Alexander show. And she's back working with him. And so he's getting her tour ready. And Sharon, maybe you do this at the gym. You know those hanging rope thing? Like, what's it called? Like, is it T-Rex something when you put your legs in it and you're doing a lot of ab work and stuff? So Adam, have you tried this thing? Anyways, I tried it a few years ago, and yeah, your abs are dying because you have to use all your core strength to get these things to move in the direction you want. And so he's showing her moves and she starts laughing at him. She's like, yeah, right. And then he goes through, he's like, but we need your abs to be like what they were when you did I Get Lonely. And so she starts laughing at him. So.
Yeah, we'll see.
But knowing what I know from all the people around Janet, she will do it, and she will have abs of steel when she hits the stage. So
wow. Yeah. Wow, good for her.
Mm.
Now the other bit of documentary info is TLC. Now, wasn't there was it a
they did one already.
It was
Crazy,
a doc,
Sexy,
yeah.
Cool, a few years ago. So they're doing this. I'm not sure why they're doing this again, but I'll take it. And yeah, like they're gonna have it sounds like it's gonna be interviews again with Chili and T-Boz. And I'm not sure if they're gonna get any family members of Left Eyes to speak, or if it'll just be the girls talking on their behalf. I'm not sure. But I think I feel like it's gonna be more interview based as opposed to Crazy Sexy Cool, which I believe was a reenactment, right? Like it was
oh yes, it was.
So I think this is like straight up interviewing and probably clips and all that.
Oh, that's good.
The other thing was like an actual, like they hired people to play them. So
yeah, that's
know what, people got like into trouble.
see.
Remember that? They got I think they got sued by their ex-manager, right? Pebbles?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
She was a problem the whole time. If we can shout out Left Eye for a second, just for two examples of her crazy skills as a rapper, she does one on Space Cowboy by NSYNC that's been popping up on a playlist of mine, and she just flipping goes at it. Like, it's stunning how good she is. And she does a rap on Donnell Jones's what was that song called from the early 2000s? You Know What's Up.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
But like both of them, different vibes to them, certainly. But the one on NSYNC, it's like she bursts out of this spaceship almost and like blah, goes at it. It's amazing. Highly advised. Like Kelly does at the end of the show. I would advise you go back, find NSYNC Space Cowboy, and get ready to be blown away by.
And I'm pretty sure she also guested with Mel C on a song.
Ooh.
On Mel C's Northern Star album.
I'll go back and look for that too.
I think that was 2001.
2001.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, I know you're going to do Rewind, Sharon, so I'll just ask you this question that you'll both percolate and then answer after Rewind. We had listener mail from Shane.
Oh, hey, Shane.
And Shane wants to know, Shane from Kentucky, Shane said to ask both you and Adam and myself, I'll put this in after, what one album from the 90s would you want to take with you to a desert island? And he made a caveat for me that Kelly's not allowed to choose a Janet album.
Ooh, wow.
You can ponder, do Rewind, and then let me know if you, or answer now, whatever.
I'm not sure why. Maybe because we were talking about the Oscars and I've read Lenny Kravitz's book on vacation. I'll take Are You Gonna Go My Way?
Okay. Adam?
Probably something from Oasis.
Oh,
good one.
I don't know which one.
We can only take one because I'll take what's the story Morning Glory from Oasis.
Oh, there we go. Okay. He gave 2. Shane said that he would take Boys to Men and then Rhythm Nation. He did want to pick a
Ooh.
Janet one. He said that I could pick a Janet one, but I had to pick something else. So
Okay.
for me, it's super tough choice because all of Janet's albums that speak the most to me are from that decade. So I'll take Velvet Rope just because it was life-changing in many regards, like the whole experience of Velvet Rope. And
Yeah.
then for me, I would either take Crystal Waters' Storyteller
Mm-hmm.
album or CeCe Peniston's Thought You Knew. Yeah.
I'm gonna
That's a hard
also
question.
take.
There are so many.
There are so many. I'm gonna take Listen Without Prejudice,
Oh yeah, that was a good one.
George Michael.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about George Michael a little bit on the next show, but we're gonna wrap up today with a 90s rewind. Just to go back to the end of our favorite decade. Well, it's the end of the decade, but certainly springtime of 1999. All right. Little spring fling action. Because speaking of TLC, they didn't want them. So there were no scrubs to be found anywhere near them in 1999. Everlast jumped around on his own from House of Pain and gave it to us straight on What It's Like. Chicka Chicka Slim Shady was the final thought of Eminem's My Name Is.
That was 1999. Wow.
Was still happening, yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
What was the other thing? We were loving the energy off of the Goo Goo Dolls Slide. It was a great song. And on paper, to wrap this up, I think if there were ever a mashup or a sampling that wouldn't have made sense, again, on paper, I think it hands down would have been Jay-Z taking on a song from the Broadway musical Annie. Like, what? Okay, but somehow it worked, and A Hard Knock Life is a classic. And that is your 90s rewind.
Nice. I also might say that I would take TLC Crazy Sexy Cool album with me on an album.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah. There's so many, Shane. What have you done to us? Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Well, we will readdress, Shane, and we're going to need to order a bigger island.
Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I'm back to two quick suggestions for you both and our audience. Miley Cyrus's album came out.
Isn't it good?
The song River is Badonkadonk. Like, and the video for River is crazy. So check that out. And there's a chick, I believe she's from England, Mae Muller, Maemuller.
Mhm.
And the song is called I Wrote a Song. And it is
Smart.
amazing.
Okay.
I just want to say before we move forward that I'm a big Miley Cyrus fan.
Mm-hmm.
And did not enjoy the album.
Adam, that's a cliffhanger to leave us with.
I guess I just wanted something that rocked a little more, like she gave us with Midnight Sky, the previous album.
Yeah.
So it was just all a little bit too like linear, and there was just some missing. My personal opinion. I've listened to it once. I'll listen to it again. It might be a grower, but
well,
I would bet expectations and it just didn't land for me.
I'm gonna bet that it's gonna grow on you because I think that
maybe.
Well, because we know that she's a type of artist that it's not without thought, you know.
Of course.
Like, so I think that whatever level of energy is intentional. So I think that it will grow on you.
Yeah. And Adam, watch the video for River.
I haven't watched the video yet.
It is amazing. It's so good. Yeah.
Nice.
And I don't normally care about videos too much anymore.
Yeah.
But it's good. And also Sam Smith's I'm Not Here to Be Friends. Oh my goodness.
Cool. All right.
Yeah. That's enough now. I'm going to shut up. Bye now.
Thanks everybody for hanging with us. We appreciate it. For finding us wherever it is that you do and sticking with us every time. We'll be back next time. But for this time, thank you for listening to 90s Now. Still happening.